I've always been the independent type. I left home at 18, built a career from scratch, and never asked for a handout. So when my marriage ended last year, I was determined to handle that too. The divorce was a gut punch, but it was also a chance for a fresh start. I found a small house on the outskirts of Seattle, a quiet place with wooded lots and long driveways. It felt like the perfect place to heal and find myself again. My older brother, Mark, helped me with the move. He's always been the protective one, but we'd drifted apart a bit. He was unusually quiet that day, and when he was leaving, he pulled me into this really tight hug. "Call if you need anything, sis." Anything at all. I just smiled and waved him off, feeling the first real thrill of being completely on my own. The first week was a dream. I set up my office and started to feel like myself again. Then, the odd things started. I came home late from a meeting, and my front door was slightly ajar. My heart hammered against my ribs. I'm meticulous about locking up. I pushed the door open, calling out, but the house was silent and empty. Inside, it was like a ghost had passed through. A single kitchen drawer was open, but nothing was taken, just rearranged. My favorite coffee mug was on the counter, half full, but I hadn't had coffee that morning. I checked every room, but nothing was stolen. It was so subtle, it made me question my own sanity. I called the police. They were polite, but dismissive. An officer suggested the wind might have blown the door open, that I was just stressed from the move. "Get a deadbolt," he said with a shrug, while writing in his notepad. I felt humiliated by the officers, but I installed new, heavy-duty locks that weekend. But the feeling of being watched never went away. I started drawing my blinds the second I got home, but I'd still hear things at night. I would sometimes hear rustling in the bushes outside my window at night. I'd tell myself it was just an animal. One evening, I was out walking my dog, Luna. As we passed the old shed at the edge of my property, I saw a flicker of movement, a dark shape darting behind it. At the same moment, Luna stopped dead, a low growl rumbling in her chest. We bolted back inside. Later that night, my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "You look tired. Get some rest." My blood ran cold. The incidents became more frequent, more insidious. My groceries would be rearranged in the fridge. My mail started showing up opened, then resealed with clumsy tape. One morning, I went to brush my teeth and my toothbrush was wet. I hadn't used it yet. Someone had been in my house while I was sleeping. I bought a set of Wi-Fi cameras, and for the first week, there was nothing. Then, I found it. A clip from 2:34 a.m. on the backyard camera. A tall figure in dark clothes, a hood pulled low over their face, stood at the very edge of the woods, just staring at my house, for 5 solid minutes. Then they turned and walked away. The build was broad, masculine. My friends begged me to move, but this house was my declaration of independence. I wasn't going to let some creep chase me away. I filed another police report, but with no face and no forced entry. There was nothing they could do. The texts continued, always from a new burner number. "Nice dress today. Luna needs a walk." They were so personal, so specific. They knew my routine. I felt like a prisoner in my own home. I changed the locks again and got a professional security system. One night, Mark came over for dinner with his wife. I finally broke down and told them everything. They looked horrified. "Come and stay with us for a while," they pleaded. But I didn't want to be a bother. My life became a mess of paranoia. I left for work at different times, came home via convoluted routes, but the figure on the camera kept returning, getting bolder. One night, a motion alert woke me up. On my phone screen, I watched in horror as the hooded figure walked right up to my back door and calmly tried the handle. The alarm didn't go off. They hadn't broken anything. They just checked. Then came the storm, a massive squall that knocked out the power. My security system went silent. I sat bolt upright in bed, my heart a drum against my ribs. Luna was at my feet, whining softly. I grabbed the baseball bat I'd started keeping next to my bed, and then I heard it. The unmistakable sound of shattering glass from downstairs. A pause, then the crunch of footsteps on the broken shards. They were inside, and they were coming up the stairs. My fingers fumbled as I dialed 911, whispering my address. I scrambled into my bedroom closet, pulling the door shut, gripping the bat. The bedroom door creaked open. Heavy, deliberate footsteps crossed the floor. I could hear their breathing, ragged and close. Then, the closet handle began to turn. The door was yanked open. It was the hooded figure, a dark mask covering their face. They lunged, I swung the bat wildly and heard a sickening crack as it connected with their arm. He grunted but kept coming, grabbing my wrist. We crashed to the floor. He was strong, overpowering me, his hands finding their way to my throat. My vision started to tunnel. Just as I thought it was over, Luna launched herself at him, sinking her teeth into his arm. He roared and kicked her away, but it was the opening I needed. I was able to kick him in the stomach. I rolled free, scrambled for the bat, and swung with every ounce of strength I had left, aiming for his head. He slumped to his knees, then collapsed onto the floor, a pool of blood forming around his head. The world was silent except for my own ragged gasps. Shaking, I knelt down and reached for the mask. I pulled it off, and my world shattered for the second time. It was Mark, my brother. Blood matted his hair, his eyes were vacant. I checked for a pulse. Just as the police were pulling up, there was nothing. He was gone. The ambulance arrived minutes later. They pieced it together from journals they found in his car. His marriage was crumbling. He'd become obsessed with the idea of protecting me, an obsession that twisted into a sick, jealous rage at my independence. He'd copied my house key during the move. The photos on his phone, taken from inside my room while I slept, proved it. The shadow in the woods, the texts, the wet toothbrush. It was all him. The autopsy confirmed the cause of death. My actions were ruled self-defense. No charges were filed. But sometimes, in the dead of night, I still hear footsteps in the empty hall. I see his face in every passing shadow. Was it ever really about protection? Or was it something much, much darker? Family can be the warmest comfort, but it can also be the closest danger. Always trust your gut. If you feel like you're being watched, you probably are. And get a dog. They might just save your life. Thanks for watching. I'll be sharing more stories, so please don't forget to like and subscribe.